Foods and drinks to avoid with diabetes. A diabetes diet plan can include most foods, but people may need smaller portions. That said, certain foods from each food group may be better than others. Currently, nearly 11% trusted source of people in the United States have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, and 35% of adults in the country have prediabetes, according to the 2020-2025 Dietary Guidelines for Americans. Different foods provide each of the main macronutrients that give us energy: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. There are more and less healthy types of each of these foods. Below, we explore which foods a person who has or has a risk of diabetes may want to limit or avoid. We also offer some suggestions for crafting a healthy diabetes diet plan. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are an important source of energy. This macronutrient also has the most influence on a person's blood sugar or blood glucose. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommend that people with diabetes get about half trusted source of their daily calories from carbohydrates. Having the same? What is most important, however, is eating the right kind of carbohydrates. Carbs to avoid. There are three main types of carbohydrates in food: starch, sugar, and fiber. Starches and sugars pose the biggest problems for people with diabetes because the body breaks these down into glucose. Refined carbs. Refined carbs, or refined starches, are broken down through processing before they reach our plates. As a result of this processing, the body quickly absorbs the carbs and converts them into glucose. This increases blood sugar, and it means that a person may feel hungry again soon after a meal. For people with diabetes or a risk of the condition, some examples of carb sources to limit include trusted source white rice and anything made with white flour only, such as white bread, white pasta, some cereals, some crackers, many baked goods. Monitoring the total carbohydrate intake per meal can help a person keep their glucose levels in the target range. Sugars. Sugary foods mostly contain sugar and low-quality carbohydrates. They often have little or no nutritional value and can cause sharp spikes in blood glucose. Sugar can also contribute to weight gain and the risk of heart disease and stroke. Foods that are often high in sugar include baked goods, such as donuts, croissants, cakes, and cookies, as well as pizza dough. Some other sources of sugar include many sauces and condiments, agave nectar, and other sweeteners, maple syrup, and other syrups, candy bars, pre-made fruit-flavored yogurts. Many pre-made items in grocery stores contain added sugar, and this may not be obvious on their ingredients labels. Nutrition labels may refer trusted source to added sugar as fruit juice concentrate, molasses, honey, syrup, fructose, or dextrose, for example. Many pre-made items in grocery stores contain added sugar, and this may not be obvious on their ingredients labels. Nutrition labels may refer trusted source to added sugar as fruit juice concentrate, molasses, honey, syrup, fructose, or dextrose, for example. Whole grains and fiber. Whole grains contain fiber. Although fiber is technically a carbohydrate, it does not break down into glucose in the body and does not add calories. Fiber is a healthy carb. Examples of whole grains include brown or wild rice, barley, quinoa, oatmeal, amaranth, millet. A 2012 study looked at the development of prediabetes and type 2 diabetes in people who consumed more than 59.1 g trusted source of whole grains a day. It found that these participants had a 34% lower risk of their glucose tolerance worsening compared with participants who ate less than 30.6 g of whole grains a day. Fruits and vegetables. Fruits contain high-quality carbohydrates and fiber, as do nuts and legumes, such as beans, peas, and lentils. These foods may help slow the absorption of glucose. A person may opt for fresh, whole fruit raw, steamed, roasted or grilled non-starchy vegetables, frozen or canned vegetables. As long as they are unsalted or have low sodium canned or frozen fruit with no added sugar, including syrup, unsweetened applesauce. Protein. Protein helps the body build, maintain, and replace its tissue. Our organs, muscles, and immune systems consist of proteins. The body can break down protein into sugar, but this process is less efficient than breaking down carbs. Proteins to avoid. For people with diabetes, choosing the best sources of protein largely depends on how much fat and carbohydrates these foods contain. When protein-rich foods are also high in fat, they can lead to weight gain and high cholesterol. Processed or fatty meats. Eating even small amounts of red meat, such as beef, pork, or lamb, may increase the risk of diabetes. A 2020 study showed that eating just 50 g red meat or fish each day can raise diabetes risk by 11%. Also, people with diabetes should consider avoiding or limiting the intake of breaded, fried, and high-sodium meats, processed meats, such as bacon, hot dogs, and deli meats ribs, and other fatty cuts of meat poultry with the skin on deep-fried fish. Processed meats tend to be high in sodium or salt. People with high blood pressure should also be especially cautious and limit their sodium intake to no more than 2,300 milligrams trusted source per day. Proteins to eat. For an omnivore, the aim is to opt for healthier animal proteins, as well as dairy and plant alternatives. Healthier animal proteins. A person should choose the leanest options available. These may be skinless chicken or turkey-trimmed cuts of beef without the fat roasts or chops. If red meat is still part of the diet fish, especially those rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as albacore tuna, herring, or salmon whole eggs. Plant protein. When considering sources of plant-based protein, check how many fats and carbohydrates each option contains. A person might choose beans, lentils, nuts, soy products, tofu. Dairy. When considering sources of plant-based protein, check how many fats and carbohydrates each option contains. A person might choose beans, lentils, nuts, soy products, tofu. Options may include plain yogurt without added sugar, reduced fat cheese or full-fat cheese in moderate servings, cottage cheese milk. Fats. Fat is a source of essential fatty acids, such as omega-3s, and it is an integral part of a healthy, balanced diet. Fat also helps the body absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K. Fats to avoid. Unhealthy fats can increase cholesterol levels and contribute to insulin resistance. This may increase the risk of developing diabetes or contribute to blood sugar spikes in people who have the condition. Saturated fat. This mainly exists in animal products, oils, and processed foods. A person should consume less than 10% of their daily calories from saturated fat. Some foods with high saturated fat contents include butter-lard certain oils, such as palm oil cream-based dressings and dips, full-fat mayonnaise French fries, breaded and battered foods, potato chips, many pre-made meals, burgers, most fast foods, many salad dressings, drinks including alcohol. A person with diabetes can safely consume unsweetened teas, coffees, and zero-calorie drinks, as well as plain water, of course. To give the water some flavor, try throwing in some whole fruit pieces. Alcoholic drinks can also contain sugar and carbs. People should limit their consumption of alcoholic beverages, especially beer drinks that contain fruit dessert wines, drinks with a sweet mixer. Another reason that heavy drinking is harmful is that combining it with diabetes medications may lead to low blood sugar or hypoglycemia. The symptoms of this are similar to intoxication and may be difficult to recognize.